like that. Okay, punch it. Woo! Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the all-new Kia Niro. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jerry Center Kia here in South Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Kia Niro. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you guys can check out what they have currently. And by the way, they have a bunch of these for sale right now because they just got a massive shipment in. If you have any questions whatsoever, just ask for Patrick. And then on a side note, if you want to save time, money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a 1.6 liter four-cylinder that's paired to a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission and a hybrid system. Total system output is 139 horsepower and then 195 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 53 around town and then 54 on the highway, and you have a total driving range of 588 miles. Let's go over the front end of the all-new Niro. So first off, you guys can see with the Kia logo, front and center, and then I love these little lines there on the hood. I think those look pretty neat. Coming down below, pretty interesting looking daytime running light, and then you guys can see with the projector bulb for the headlight. And then I love this trim piece that kind of comes all along the front end. Kind of reminds me of the Kia Soul, actually. Very interesting. But anyways, you guys can see the silver trim there at the bottom. Let me know what you guys think about the front end styling. It's definitely unique. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 205, 60, 16 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see with the design on the wheels, notice that the wheel is actually mostly closed off, but I think they've done a really good job with making it look like the wheel isn't. So you guys can see here at the silver on the top, kind of makes it look like, well, it's an open design, but then you look closer and mostly closed off for aerodynamic purposes. Anyways, notice the fender flare here, and that goes to a little splash guard. That's like the tiniest splash guard I've ever seen in my entire life. Aside from that, if we take a few steps back, here's kind of our full side profile. Again, it's a pretty small little crossover, lifted hatchback, whatever you want to call it. I do think that the little turn signal indicator here on the mirror is definitely unique looking. So here's a key fob for the Niro. You guys can see Kia logo there at the bottom, and then we've got the lock function, the unlock, and then the remote start. Pretty simplistic stuff. And if we actually pop down here, we got the little popper here for the hatch. It is hydraulic with the opening, and the load floor is actually pretty dang low, so it helps out with storage space quite a bit, and got even more storage space underneath. That is definitely welcome. You can throw down the seats as well if you want even more space here in the back, but when you're all done, you got this handle, just grab it, throw it down. Now let's go over the rear end of the Niro, and this is where things get very, very strange. So first off, we have, well, normal badges here. On the back end, we got parking sensors here at the bottom, and then you guys can see here with the lighting there at the bottom, pretty normal. And then taillights, which look very similar to like Volvo's rear taillights, which is interesting, but this is where things get really weird. So I'm actually gonna pop over on this side because it'll probably show up better. It's hollow. So this technically, like this whole piece, as you can see, it goes all the way through. So it technically has like buttresses, just like the Ford GT. Think about that for a second, folks. Ford GT, Kia Niro, basically the same car. There's the rear end. So here's the door panel in the rear. You guys can see we have like this trim that goes to the handle, which is pretty cool. And then we've got some cloth padding down below, and then pretty normal window control there. And then here are the seats, which are pretty cool. You've got like the multi-material approach to the seats here, and again, more of that cloth trim in the center. And let's actually pop in and see how comfy they are. Ooh, there's legroom. There's my messy face. Pretty comfy. And then you got a little storage pocket there. Got some vents, and you have a cup holder armrest. Pretty normal setup. USB port here on the seat. That's interesting. Also, full extend mode. That's out of the front. So here is the front door panel. You guys can see again with the cloth trim down below, and then again with the handle, pretty neat. All of our window controls here, and then the mirror adjustments. Mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, if you guys are wondering. And then again with the front seat, we got the headrest in full extend mode. And then you guys can see there with the trim, pretty interesting. I like the use of two different materials. I think it looks pretty cool. Power adjustments here on the side of the seat. And then here's the pedal layout down below. And then you guys can see here, I guess you can reset the battery if you need to. You got the stability control there. Steering wheel is manually adjustable. Let's pop in. So here's our steering wheel for the Niro. You guys can see here with the padding all around. And then we actually have really nice paddle shifters here on the back of the steering wheel. We've got some controls for the center stack and then also for the adaptive cruise control and steering assist system. And then we got like our voice command, volume controls here on the other side. We have our drive mode select there at the bottom. And then our turn signal, light stock, windshield wiper stock. And by the way, you're going to see a lot of different elements from a lot of different cars here in the Niro because it's kind of like a parts bin car, which I don't think is a bad thing because it makes this feel a lot more premium than the price suggests. So here is the center gauge cluster. You guys can see I can change different drive modes from, well, eco to sport. I guess there's no in between. You're either getting good fuel economy or you need to accelerate quicker. So yeah, and then notice there is also an EV mode, which is pretty cool. If I press the pages button, that'll let me scroll through some different menus. Pretty normal stuff with the car. And sorry about the camera freaking out there, but there's the gauge cluster. And then we have the regular infotainment screen, which is, yes, connected to the gauge cluster. It's Kia's mega screen is what we'll call it. Backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then you get like the parking sensors there on the rear. And then going through the rest of the screen, first off, response time is great. We have this little hybrid page, which you can see everything that's happening with like the energy flow and all that, which is pretty cool. So right now we're just using up battery juice. And other than that, I mean, pretty easy to use. You can pair up your phone. It's got a quiet mode. So yeah, this is like the biggest hazard light button in conjunction with car size that I've ever seen in my life. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, we have the cool climate control / nav control situation. So right now it's set to control the climate system, but if I press that button, now it's set to control like the radio navigation and everything. So it's a cool feature so that you can do multiple things all at once. And then moving from that, you guys can see with our little charging port area, and then we have a wireless phone charging pad, or stop-start button right there. Heated seats here for the front, and then our shifter for that 6-speed dual clutch. And then we got our parking brake down below. And then, like I said, parts bin. This has the over-engineered pop-out cup holders, which are always fun. And then nice padding here in the center console. Tons of storage space. And there's the glove box. Pretty normal setup. I like this on the dash. Look at that. That's cool looking as well. And then it's just a lighter colored headliner up top, nothing fancy. So here's our window sticker for this 2023 Kia Niro, and this is the EX package if you guys are wondering. Almost everything is standard equipment. Now I do want to mention warranty information, 10-year 100,000 mile on the powertrain, and then you have a 5-year 60,000 mile on the basic warranty, and then also the battery has its own warranty. It's a 10-year 100,000 mile as well. $29,090 is the base MSRP. This has some, well, let's see, optional equipment, carpeted floor mats, mud guards. Okay. After destination and everything, $30,655. Let's see how this Volvo Ford GT Kia Niro drives. Let's talk about visibility before you set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Both of the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So I just experienced the strangest thing that I have ever experienced in my entire life in the parking lot with this car. So most cars, wow, that person's took a huge swing. Jeez, they almost hit into me. Anyways, other than Volkswagen drivers being Volkswagen drivers, most cars that are hybrids will, you know, switch between having the engine on and off. And, you know, the engine will power the car and sometimes the engine won't. In the parking lot, though, I was driving and it turned the engine on to charge up the battery while I was moving forward. And so I could feel the vibration from the engine, but I wasn't getting any power from the engine. Weirdest feeling ever. Like, it's hard to describe. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't know what I'm feeling, but like, that's what it felt like. It felt like I could hear the engine, could feel the vibration, and it was moving forward, but then just with the power of electricity. Super strange. Yeah, it pops into EV mode as much as it possibly can, which is pretty helpful. Yet this with a dual clutch is so weird. I mean, I'll have to see how it does in sport mode, but so far, I mean, it's it's actually pretty smooth in terms of the transition and everything. But like, I'm so used to these hybrids having CVTs and having that feel with the 4-cylinder. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've driven a CVT hybrid. This doesn't have that. It's strange, but I think it's gonna be good. We'll see. Pop into the sport mode there. Brakes are good. Brakes feel normal, by the way. It doesn't have any weird, like, you know, EV brakes or anything like that. Okay, punch it. Ooh! Huh. It's almost like they're trying to make this feel more CVT-like. So I'm popping into the manual mode. It's okay, so this is, you guys heard 6-speed automatic. The gearing seems really long in this. I wonder if like people that have hybrids are like so used to a CVT that like Kia's like, okay, we got to make sure that this still feels like what people are used to. It you know, it is ultimately a dual clutch, but it's weird. It doesn't have the same like snappiness. Actually, those are let's see. Yeah, it feels more like a torque converter automatic than a dual clutch. Like you can tell things have been smoothed out a lot with this powertrain. This is a weird freaking car, let me tell you. EV mode again. I like that though. I like the fact that it does as much as it can to keep you in the EV mode for as long as possible, so that you, if you're not moving, right, to save on gas. Ha, torque steers a little bit. You know, I do prefer this though to a CVT. So summing things up, I mean, it technically has buttresses, so like 12 out of 10. But in all seriousness, styling is definitely crazy. Kia and Hyundai, man, they're going crazy with their styling lately. Sorry, I gotta just make sure no one's popping out from here. Yeah, they're going crazy with their styling, that is for sure. Interiors, again, there's like a lot of different elements from a lot of different cars, but seat comfort's good. Everything is easy to use, like it makes sense, especially considering the price point, $30,000. This interior is really nice. I like how it's padded up here, where you rest your arm. Yeah, for a car that's $30,000, this is a very upscale feeling interior. And like, again, this isn't necessarily like the nicest materials here at the top, but it looks cool. And so I'm really impressed with this, honestly. And I don't know what people are going to compare this to. Maybe like, let me know in the comment section below, but like, I'm thinking Prius, stuff like that is probably what people compare this to. I'd much rather have this over like something like a Prius, because this, I mean, the styling's crazy, I get it, but like this interior is so much nicer, so much more usable. Like I have a regular shifter to shift into gear, and I have the weird Prius thing there in the center. Like the dual clutch in this is way more drivable than a CVT. It's weird for a dual clutch, but yeah, I think for a hyper-miling EV, this is probably the best on the market right now. So let me know what you guys think about the new Niro. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this Kia Niro. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jerry Sano Kia here in Salt Lake City, Utah, for giving me some time with this Niro. Check out the Tron in the description down below. Ask for Patrick if you have any questions. I'll see ya.